The night was quiet on the open plains when a sudden thud shook the wooden porch of a lone cowboy's cabin. John McGraw, a weathered drifter with a reputation for minding his own business, swung open the door and froze. At his feet lay a wounded Apache warrior, blood staining his chest. His breath ragged and shallow, the cowboy knelt, torn between fear and compassion. For years, settlers and Apache had clashed, and John had every reason to turn away. But the warrior's trembling hand grabbed his arm, pulling him closer. With the last of his strength, the Apache whispered, "My kids are still alive. Save them." His voice cracked, but his eyes burned with a father's desperate plea. John's jaw tightened. He wasn't a hero, just a man who wanted peace and quiet. Yet the words dug into his heart like spurs into a horse's flank. Against the backdrop of an unforgiving land, he realized walking away would haunt him forever. By dawn, John saddled his horse, the Apache's lifeless body buried under a cairn of stones. The only guide he had was a half-broken map clenched in the warrior's fist and the memory of his plea. The ride ahead would be treacherous through canyons where outlaws roamed and across lands patrolled by soldiers who saw Apaches as enemies, not children to be saved. Each mile tested his resolve, but John pressed on. Along the trail, he recalled his own childhood, how his family had been torn apart in a raid. Perhaps this was his chance at redemption, a way to break the cycle of vengeance that poisoned the frontier. When he finally reached a hidden ravine, he spotted them, two frightened Apache children, thin, hungry, but alive. Behind them loomed armed men, the kind who trafficked in misery, selling captives for coin. John's hand hovered over his revolver. He knew the odds, but he also knew he couldn't ride away. The cowboy took a deep breath, remembering the dying father's eyes. The choice was no longer about sides, Apache or settler, outlaw or lawman. It was about honor. It was about doing what was right when no one else would. And with that, John stepped into the clearing, ready to fight for lives that weren't his own, but had become his responsibility. Asterisk, don't stop here. The next story might just blow your mind. Subscribe, hit like, and share this with anyone who craves heart-pounding suspense and unforgettable twists.